Hey there and welcome back to another your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man video. And today we're going to be looking at episode 10, If This Be My Destiny, which also serves as the season finale. This show overall has been so good. Probably one of the best pieces of superhero content I've watched in a fair while. No matter the format, Spider-Man hits different for me, and to see this show be really fun and exciting was just excellent. But can they stick the landing and finish strong? Guess we'll have to take a look and see. Here we go. So we start off the episode at the high school, where we learn via school intercom that unfortunately they didn't win the championship game, as Lonnie was obviously not on the team. I really have no idea about American football if I'm being honest, but I do know that you need a good quarterback, and he was next level. So without him, the team couldn't quite go the distance. Just a little slice of life moment to remind us of what could have been, but isn't because of Dre. Damn it, Dre! In science, Pearl's panicking, as Peter's the one that's responsible for bringing their diorama for the presentation, and he's getting in some preschool Spider-Manning. Hell, I was about to say that he's being selfish by doing this, but then I thought, is that even fair? It's not really. It's just one of those things. He's doing important stuff here. Regardless, this is also an important assessment, as the teacher says it's going to factor into their final grade. Of course, the teacher is planning on randomly choosing who's going to go first, which hardly seems fair when one member of the group who's well known for being late is still on their way. Thankfully, Nico's now friends with Peter again, and also is friends with Pearl, and so she volunteers to go first with her presentation. Honestly, my school hack for when you're doing a speech or presentation for class is you should always go first. One, you're not anxious the whole class waiting for your turn, and also, if you make a fool of yourself, everybody will have forgotten by the end of class. Spider-Man returns the car keys to the victim, who's guarding his diorama, and who shakes it up. That's it, car keys down the drain. Seriously, what's he thinking? Oh, this hero asked me to hold on to this box and take care of it whilst he gets my car back. Let's shake it up, shall we? That's some clown shit. Oh, here you go, buddy, have your car keys back. Oh no, I dropped them into the sewer. Whoopsie, anyway, gotta run. Back to the science class, Nico has finished up her very slowly spoken presentation about photosynthesis, with the teacher then picking Pearl's group to go next. You know what I hate about teachers? That they have some sort of innate ability to pick the person who's least ready to go next. Whenever I didn't know an answer in class, and for some reason the teacher was just randomly picking students like a massive asshole, I could rest assured that I would get chosen for that moment. Lovely. Even better when they force you to try. Oh, just give me a guess. Kiss my ass. I guess I had that somewhat repressed. Moving on, Peter arrives just in the nick of time, but the model's all scuffed to hell. Luckily, the third member of the group had a speech on her phone ready to go, and she just goes, and carries their group to an A, dragged down to an A- because of the lacking model. Walking back to their tables, Pearl calls Peter, Peter, instead of Petey. They have eye contact and... shit, surely not, right? Surely not. They're not actually going through with this romance, right? Isn't she like 18 and he's 14? Can't quite remember the gap, but it's enough, especially at their respective age bracket. I guess we'll wait and see. Hopefully not, though. Then it's over to Oscorp, where we have all the interns hanging out, and for the first time, they get to interact with Norman Osborn. He leads them into a huge room, where it becomes clear that their little projects weren't just run-of-the-mill assessments. They were all components of a greater whole. Asha's star maps, Jean's quantum tunneling algorithms, Peter's battery, and Cho's mechanical frame. It's all coming together to unlock faster-than-light travel, a gateway they can use to explore outer space. Of course, instead of using cool ideas such as space exploration and figuring out the mysteries of the cosmos, Norman shows his hand a bit early and starts raving about how they can start to harvest resources from space. Oh, of course. Gotta get your hands on those precious metals and whatnot. Typical capitalist. I will say, though, it feels a bit wild that he doesn't have any sort of safety features in place for this. Surely this is the type of thing that you, at the very least, would open from behind a secure and thick glass box, not just standing out in the open where you could get sucked in if it goes wrong, right? Also, I did think it was a little forced that all these scientists were standing there thinking it's a bad idea. I realized there'd be some skepticism, but they all seemed fully against it on principle, which I found odd. Although now I'm saying that, maybe it does make sense. These gates have brought destruction in the past, so maybe it would make sense for them to think that opening one in the middle of New York City is not the best idea overall. What if something comes through? What if it blows up? It could level the city! Why they didn't build a secure facility upstate? Never really made clear. On top of that, they haven't properly vetted the coordinates yet, as Asha says. They think it's a barren void, but what if they were wrong? What if they opened it up and it's the middle of a star? See ya, kids! Vaporized instantly! But yes, they go to open up the gateway. I love the fake out where you think it's open, but then I love the fake out where you think it's open and you're waiting to see what comes through, only to see Doctor Strange. His entrance was epic, and it was at this moment it clicked together in my head that we were going to be getting some time travel shenanigans with him fighting the symbiote, and thus Peter getting bitten by the spider. We'll talk more about that in a moment, but I will say I was proud of myself that I picked it up so fast. I'm sure most people did, but usually I can be slow on the uptake for this sort of thing, so I was pretty pumped. Strange tells him that the experiment is at an end, which, yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not really sure that it's his place to decide. I know he ends up being correct that they shouldn't open the gate, but I'm not sure I agree with him on principle just getting to decide what other people are able to do. I feel like monitoring would have been a better move, or just secretly sabotaging it maybe. Why get into a confrontation? Either way, it really pisses Norman off, who seems to have a bit of a complex about supers. And when Peter says that he remembers Strange from the battle at Midtown High, this makes Norman spiral even more, and he starts blaming everything on Strange, making him seem like a villain who's trying to hold humanity back, and goes through life causing damage regular folk have to clean up. So last episode we saw the good side of Norman, where he talked about the qualities that Peter has that make him a true hero. Here, we got to see the darker side of Norman. The parts of him that seem primed to be goblinified. He's resentful, he gaslights, rants and rages. He's so ready to chuck out blame to this guy without a second thought, and is extremely self-righteous about it. Oh yeah, he's gonna be an excellent villain, I tell you what. I mean, look at his face when Peter dares to voice his support for Strange. It will take a while till we see the Goblin though, I think. Although you never know. Judging by where they finish at the end of this season, maybe he ends up being the final boss of next season. That might be Ock though. Norman orders a preemptive attack on Strange, which gives them enough time to open a gate, and it's a beautiful look at open space. Norman has just enough time to talk some shit before the symbiote appears and walks through the gate to attack them. For once, in an action film where there's going to be a lot of collateral damage, the civilians actually run away instantly. There's no gawking, no idiots, they book it out of there while Strange starts the fight. Yeah, there's some stragglers like Norman, but he's frozen in fear and he was much closer. He's realizing that everything he's been doing is simply going to lead to him being eaten by an alien. I too would be in shock. See, this is why when you're doing a test like this, you have security glass. It's a really high impact, hard hitting battle, and Strange ends up getting launched into the battery and bounces off to hit Norman, seemingly knocking them both out and shutting the gate at the same time, leaving the symbiote alone with Dr. Whitman. Good, get him! We then have a scene that's very Jurassic Park, where the beast hunts for him. He hides under a table, and just as he thinks that it's gone, it rips the table off and tries to kill him. Luckily for him, Spidey arrives, and the battle truly begins. It goes about as well as you'd expect. This thing seemingly can't be knocked down for the count no matter how hard Peter hits it, and it can grow appendages out of nowhere, so he pretty quickly is thrown through a wall and into a lab, where the fateful spider is freed from its cage. I gotta say, when you're gonna open an intergalactic gateway, maybe you should build it in a room that has walls strong enough to hold Spider-Man. I mean, he's been tossed into cars that had more structural integrity than this wall. The Beast then turns his attention to Norman, but he's saved by Strange and Spider-Man, who then team up to fight the Beastie. Oh, this is such a good fight. Just as good as Tombstone and Spidey versus Scorpion. I think that one had more story build and more emotion behind it. Two friends standing together to take down a psycho who's willing to do anything to hurt the people they care about. It was fun and hard-hitting and exciting because, let's be honest, they whoop his ass. This, though, was awesome in a far different way. The battlefield, way cooler. A dark and spooky lab. So much aura. The fight is far more even. In fact, more than anything, it feels like a fight for survival. Strange and Spider-Man teaming up to ensure that this thing doesn't kill them, and then keep killing everybody else. It has unique team moves, web slinging, magic, the dark dimension, symbiote shenanigans, top-class banter between the heroes. It really does have everything you could want from a fight. They then quickly realize there's no beating this guy, and so they need to send him back to where he came from. So Strange takes the fight to the creature, and Spider-Man tries to rebuild the gateway. During the course of the battle, Strange opens up a time gate and falls through it with the creature, and they end up back in episode 1 along with the spider. So in the end, Peter becomes Spider-Man because Norman took Spider-Man's blood and put it into a spider, which goes back in time to bite Peter, and yet couldn't exist unless Peter was bitten in the first place by itself, which would allow it to change his DNA structure and give him powers and put it into his blood. Time loop! I will admit I did not see that part coming at the start of this episode. I figured it really was just going to be a space spider. I guess this works though. I have seen some complaints, but I think it's rather fun. Strange and the creature return, and Peter opens up the gate only for them to be confronted by an eldritch symbiote abomination. Man, this is the type of thing that would give you nightmares forever. I feel like facing down Scorpion should pale in comparison to the idea that these types of things are out there lurking in the cosmos and could be making their way to your planet. I would never sleep again, or ever go out at night. So Strange holds off the heads while Spider-Man ties up the symbiote and tosses him out. It rejoins the mass, and Strange once again holds it off, while Spidey tries to bring the whole portal down. Here we sort of get a variant of the classic Spider-Man holding heaps of web, trying to slow down the train trope. He manages to get it closed in the nick of time, but a little bit of symbiote does manage to sneak through, which paves the way for Venom. The only question is, who's it going to be? Do they go the classic Eddie Brock? Do they go in a different direction? There's a lot of options, but yeah, just like that, the battle's over. It was a banger. Really epic scene. It honestly felt like an ending, so I was happy to find there was plenty of episode left to go. Then it's over to Pete's place where they're all unwinding from the day's events. I love the crying Norman meme. Oh, highlight of the episode. And this was an episode of wall-to-wall highlights. It feels rare when a TV show seems to accurately replicate memes and how the internet would react to events like this. Usually they're so out of touch, so good job to whoever pitched Harry's feed. Pretty much the takeaway from this scene is that Peter can't trust Oscorp anymore, or Norman, and doesn't really know what to do. Which leads Harry to talk about how it would have been simpler if Norman had just given him a place to do his own thing. This prompts Nico to suggest Harry start that company with that sole purpose, to let extraordinary people do extraordinary things. Yeah, I feel like Norman's not gonna like that, hey? Remember what I said last episode about him needing to flex on Otto? I feel like that's not gonna be an isolated incident, and he's gonna feel cut out and betrayed by his son and by Peter. I mean, I could be dead wrong, that's what I think. Plus, Norman finds the symbiote. Does he use it? Will he be Venom? Famously unstable Venom? Nah, they really have already set him up as Goblin, haven't they? He'll experiment with it for sure, though. We then have a brief scene with Strange and Spider-Man, which is just wholesome, really. Spider-Man gives Strange a pep talk and tells him not to feel bad. Strange tells Spider-Man he thinks he's ready for whatever comes, and it's all nice and sweet. I love their little friendship across the 2 episodes he's been in. I hope we get more of him. Hell, I kind of hope they make a new MAU, Marvel Animated Universe, with some shows set in this canon. I'm having lots of fun with it, and they could go in any direction they choose. It feels far less high stakes than the MCU, which are huge money-guzzling productions, so I think they could do this. We'll wait and see, though. We have a look at Harry starting his company, and there's a list of names on the board. We have Pete, Cho, Asha, and Jean, of course, but also Electro, potentially Hobgoblin, Star, and a potential link to Spider-Woman, who I feel like is surely going to appear since that Spider's still out there, unaccounted for. Which version are they going to go for, though? Spider-Gwen? Jessica Drew? Damn, I'm so excited with all the possibilities! Of course, we see Cho's working with Oscorp, so he turns it down. We see that Jean, aka Finesse, is working with Daredevil, who tells her to accept it so she can keep an eye on things for him. Excellent. This means more Daredevil as well. Hype. This show's promising so much in Season 2, hell yeah. We check in with Lonnie, who claims to his mum that he's going to be working with Webb, but he's actually now a gang leader, and he goes off to find the 1/10th a new hideout with his goons. So yeah, he's been sucked in now. He could have walked away. He was the boss, but this is the life he's chosen now. Sad. Dre, I still hate you, man. We also get a look at Nico using magic to talk to her mum, Octavius going crazy in his cell and planning his octo arms, and then the big twist at the end is the reveal that Richard Parker is not dead. He's in prison, and May's visiting him for what I guess is the first time in years, or maybe just since Ben died. And so he asks about his son as the episode ends. Holy shit, I did not expect that, and I was jumping around yelling at my TV. This was epic. Oh, what a conclusion. In a handful of scenes, they sowed so many future plot points. Venom, Goblin, Ock, Tombstone's rise. Whatever they're going to do with Richard. Is he going to be a classic villain, or do they go in a different direction? Plus, I'm now curious as to what happened with Pete's mom. Plus, the question of whether Peter actually knows if his dad's alive or if he's in prison. I'm so hyped. Hell yeah, what a great run it's been. I loved everything about this show, and now I'm sad because it's over. Hopefully it doesn't have a 2-year turnaround for the next season. But until then, these have all been my opinions, and now I'd like to hear yours. What did you think of this episode, and this season in general? Did you like it? Hate it? I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.